On November 8, 2024, the halls of power in Beijing trembled once more. Donald Trump was back in the White House, and with him came a wave of economic force that shook the foundation of global trade. Known for his unrelenting stance on China, Trump wasted no time rekindling a trade war many had feared was merely lying dormant. The message from Washington was loud and clear. United States was ready to reassert itself, and China, already grappling with internal challenges, was the first to feel the heat. Soon after taking office, President Trump unveiled a sweeping set of tariffs on Chinese goods, with some import duties reaching an astonishing 145%. The blow was immediate. Chinese exports to the US began to tumble, now warn of a potential 77% decline this year alone. Investment banks, including Goldman Sachs and UBS, have since slashed their projections for China's 2025 GDP growth, now forecasting figures between 4% and 4.5%, well below Beijing's 5% target. In retaliation, China imposed its own tariffs, hiking duties up to 125% on selected American goods. But despite this move, the border picture is far from balanced. China's economy is already under significant stress. The property sector remains sluggish, youth unemployment is worryingly high, and domestic consumption continues to lag. To counter the downward pressure, Chinese authorities have introduced monetary easing measures, cutting interest rates, reducing bank reserves requirements, and pumping funds into struggling sectors such as manufacturing upgrades and elder care. Yet, even these steps have failed to steady the ship fully. Now, after months of escalation, China finally talked with Trump and his men. From 9 to 12 May, high ranking officials from the United States and China met in Switzerland in long anticipated effort to de escalate the trade war. China's delegation was led by Vice Premier He Lifeng, while the US will be presented by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and US Trade Representative Jamison Greer. It was also the first face to face diplomatic interaction between the two powers since Chinese Vice President Han Zheng attended Trump's inauguration in January, and China is quite keen for the talks. Speaking ahead of the talks, Mr. Besant told Fox News that he aimed to rebalance the international economic system to reflect American interests better. However, he made it clear that these talks were not about securing a measured new trade deal, at least not yet. I sense that this will be about de escalation, not about the big trade deal, Besant said, but we have got to de escalate before we can move forward. China, for its part, has struck a more cautious tone. A spokesperson for the Chinese Commerce Ministry said that while Beijing is open to dialogue, Washington must first recognize the serious global consequences of its unilateral tariff measures. If the United States wants to resolve the issue through negotiation, it must face up to the serious negative impact of bilateral tariff measures on itself and the world, the spokesperson said on Wednesday. Chinese state media has also reported that Beijing's decision to participate in talks was made after thoroughly weighing international expectations, domestic economic priorities, and appeals from American businesses worried about the long term fallout. Still, the message from Beijing carries a note of defiance. The Global Times, a newspaper known for echoing the government's harder line, declared that while China seeks peace, it will fight to the end if provoked further. Meanwhile, the trade war has already had ripple effects across the global economy. Financial markets remains volatile, supply chains are under strain, and US consumers are feeling the pinch of higher prices. The US economy itself shrank by 0.3% in the first quarter of 2025, according to official data. The Switzerland meeting may not solve everything, but it marks a crucial first step. China also is keen to stay relevant as Trump tried to dismantle every inch of Xi and his empire. Whether the talks result in calm or merely pause, the storm remains to be seen. But for now, the world will watching closely. Thank you for watching.